Jelly Roll, welcome to the Cool 100 Zoom studio.
Yes, baby, I'm glad to be here, man. It's the opposite of your rainy day up there. It's a sunny day here in Nashville.
I couldn't be happier because I have no tea time today, so I don't mind if it rains. And my lawn looks awful, so I'm glad to see the rain. And I'm glad to see you. And before we started the interview, I was telling you that whenever I get outside of the range of our radio station and I'm up camping north, I flip over to the highway on Sirius XM because it's the only thing I can bring in up north.
Right.
And I hear this song as I'm driving through the park, and it's called Son of a Sinner. And I had to hit the info button on my truck because I had never heard it before. And I see in the artist field on my truck, it says Jelly Roll. And I thought, the name's compelling, but most importantly, and I'm going to use the term again that we talked about, this song was haunting to me.
God, that word, yes.
And you said when I told you I felt that song was haunting, that's exactly the emotion you're trying to invoke in your music.
That's it, man, because that's the music I loved, was songs that were written that you could tell they were real, and they were painted a little bit outside the box, and they made you think, but they made you feel. I just love, I'll never forget the first time I heard James Taylor's Fire and Rain, right? Even just to hear the guitar was kind of pretty. And just yesterday morning, and let me know you are gone. And I just remember going, ooh, this is not what, just like, you just knew that line forward. You were like, something is fixing to happen in this song that's not what I thought it was going to be, or how it just, and that song was haunting to me. By the time you listen to the whole song, I was just blown away with that song. And I've listened to it I think one of the greatest songs ever written, but it was just so descriptive, and it just gave me that feeling, just like I felt it in my shoulders, I love that feeling the music creates it.
Well, I've heard you say in other interviews that there's music that's meant to be heard and there's music that's meant to be felt. And I'm curious, from your vantage point, what's the difference?
Okay, let me think of a couple of. I'll give you an example. Ernest has a song called Sugar. I love this song. It's called Sugar. They call her Sugar. She's so sweet. It's a really cool song. And I hear it, and I'm like, I love listening to this song, But then I hear Flower Shops, and I feel that song. I've been that guy before. You know what I mean? And you just instantly connect with it in a different way, and that's kind of like Morgan Wallen's You Proof. I love it. It's a new record he's got out. It's really dope. It's fun to dance, move around to, play with your old lady in the car. It's kind of got a bounce to it. It's got that Morgan thing going, But when I hear that, I don't think Jesus done it this way. Oh, it's a different connection, And that's what I love about music. I love those kind of songs that make you feel. It's the difference between You Got a Friend from James Taylor and Fire and Rain.
I get the impression you're a fairly big James Taylor guy. That's twice he's been referenced already in the interview.
Yeah, well, James is in my top 5 songwriters ever.
I'd be curious to know, because who are some of the others?
Bob Dylan, Jim Croce.
Oh, yeah.
Who I think was like the story. He could have been the storyteller of that generation if he didn't, pass away early. You know what I mean? Johnny Cash, I thought was just in that elite top 5 of songwriters. And Willie Nelson's my strong 5th. And there's a little country biasm in that list, but it's also just good songs, dude. I mean, just, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. My heroes have always been cowboys. These are the kind of songs I like. Jim Croce's Operator. You just Box Number 10, these wild old stories. And I love that he was speaking for the disenfranchised. Right. Like, he was so direct about his songs. Like, he wrote a song about the roller derby queen. Like, Jim Croce just had this super crazy way of seeing things, like an old pool hustler in the south side of Chicago, and be like, somebody should write that dude a song, Don't Mess Around with Jim, or, what about Leroy Brown, another bad guy. It's like, he was just so good at writing these songs about people nobody wrote songs for, but everybody knew that person.
You know, some of my earliest memories of hearing music in the house I grew up in, we had, not to date myself, but we had the old 8-track player and those way too big speakers, you know, and the whole thing. And one of the 8-tracks that I think I wore out was the old Jim Croce. And in fact, we had a Johnny Horton 8-track, I think, that just about wore out too.
Oh, dude, listen, I still probably put Jim on and listen to every song he ever put out once a week. I named my dog Croce, if that helps.
You
My
did?
wife's dog's name is Croce. Yeah, she calls him Chachi. And the only reason he won that instead of James is because James just said, you know, who wants to name their dog James, you know? But Croce was cool. You know what I'm saying? I might get another one named cool. Taylor, but Croce's it's a cool name, you know? I love this quote too. Jim Croce once said, if you dig it, do it. If you really dig it, do it twice.
Jelly Roll is here, and I don't think anybody's going to be surprised when they hear that outlaw country. Now, I mean, first of all, your background's multi-genre.
Yes, sir.
But what's brought you to country, and I don't think anybody's going to be shocked when they hear who your songwriting influences are. Outlaw country is kind of what brought you in under the tent, eh?
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's like, I just feel like we're kind of, you know, we inhabit that spirit. You know, we're very outspoken, very anti-establishment, very honest in the music. You know, we don't hide as much of stuff. We're not caught up in the machine as much. So we just kind of move different. And the song lyrics themselves speak to the difference. So I think it's cool. I think we're in the renaissance of that. I think we're going to look back at this era and be like, oh, it kind of happened again right there. You know, we're a couple of, and it's obviously not the first time it's happened since the 70s. You know, Tim McGraw was kind of a bad boy when he first came in, Brantley Gilbert. It's a lot of guys that kind of, you know, Eric Church, guys that have kind of bent the rules a little bit along the way. So we just want to keep bending them.
If I were to have a chat 10 years from now with maybe another artist, do you think Jelly Roll's name be added to that list?
I sure hope so. I hope it gets added to the list. And I hope more than anything, it's about my fight behind the scenes for artist ownership, and my fight behind the scenes about the integrity of the nuance of art and the importance of the freedom of artistic expression, and not not feeling like you have to, you know, these things are, I don't know. I just hope that it's not only brought up in like, yeah, that was a guy that kind of did it in an outlaw way. I hope that's also a guy that was like big on telling other artists they need to own their masters, or that the label share should be different and the revenue stream should be different, and songwriters should be getting paid from the label and the streamers and get points like a producer because they're not getting treated properly on streaming services. Like, these are the things that I really hope are talked about me in 10 years.
Man, what a great cause to be a flag bearer for, because, you know, I know as you would, you know, songwriters, and even on their social media feeds, you know, every now and again, there'll be a post there advocating that songwriters aren't exactly treated fair, especially in that streaming. You know, you got to get 1 billion streams in order to be able to buy lunch.
They're treated very fair on radio, and they're treated the opposite of that on streaming.
Interesting. What, again, good for you for taking on that cause. And I'm glad you kind of redefined what it can be to be called outlaw, you know, outlaw country, just somebody who maybe brought some other issues to light, whether it's inside the business or out, right?
100%. Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's also important to bring back that outlaw feel of authenticity, right? Like, there's like a moment of like, you hear the song and you know that's who I am. Like, that's who you're going to meet, is that guy. I didn't pick this song out of 20 that was pitched on me by a publisher. You know, this is important, that we're kind of creating our own avenue and our own era of how we're creating music and servicing it to people. And it's also got to do a little bit with just the other outlaw side of it. It's like, look, man, I'm not going to pretend I don't smoke pot. Like, you know how many people in this town pretend they don't smoke pot? It's wild to me. Everybody smokes weed. And then they get around each other, and because of like how they think we should be perceived as artists, you know, it's like, well, don't, you know, watch out. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? Everybody smokes pot.
That's legal here, so there's nothing to hide.
It's legal here. I mean, you have guys that won't take a picture at the dispensary they went to in Denver, Colorado. You know what I mean? It's just, it's insane.
I get the real sense through the conversation, and I knew I was going to keep you longer than what they had allotted us for. I knew it. If they'd have given us a half hour, I'd blow past that too. But I get a real sense of authenticity out of you. And the LP came out last fall, Ballads of the Broken. I think
Yes.
just based on that title, I think we got a pretty good idea, of what you get. They sound like the real titles, music you're going to feel. Let me ask you this, for somebody maybe who this is their introduction to Jelly Roll, we've got Son of a Sinner. What other songs on that LP do people have to go find?
I love Empty House on there. There's a song that's a demo version called, I think it's called Trailer Home or Trailer. I don't remember what they actually ended up titling the song, but Mobile Home. That's just me and a guitar. And it's such an honest song. The hook says, Mama smoked like Willie in the back of a mobile home. So it's like, I don't know, those are the kind of good ones. But the whole album, to me, I'm proud of every song on that album.
Awesome. Go get it now, because it's the #1 album, by the way, as of just the other day on Billboard's Emerging Artists charts from Jelly Roll. Congratulations on that. So, if we were to go back however many years and I were to put my hand over the name Jelly Roll and I were to read out attributes like that, like #1 on the Billboard Emerging Artists chart, and then I removed my hand and it had your name, could you believe that?
Oh, no, dude. No, some of this stuff's beyond what I even dreamed. So now my new campaign is dream bigger. I didn't dream big enough. I shorted myself.
I love that.
I shorted myself, so now I'm dreaming big.
Good, because there's another quote that I heard out of you one time, and I thought it was just so cool. I think everybody should wake up in the morning with this mentality. You said, I'm better than a lot of people thought I'd be, and I think I'm nowhere near where I can be.
Yeah, for sure. I still feel like I'm operating at like 40%. Even my manager, it's like, I'm telling you, man, I never thought it would. Now it's one of those things that when you're here, you're like, oh no, the sky really is the limit now. Like, we've just started cracking the surface of what this thing could be.
Well, I'm so happy to be able to say hello, get to know you a bit, and be able to introduce our audience to Jelly Roll.
Thank you for your time too. This has been awesome.
Well, when you talk about music that should be heard and music that's felt, I told you before we started recording, I could take you right now up to Highway 60, exactly where I was when I heard Son of a Sinner for the first time. And to me, that's music I feel. And that's why to be able to have a bit of your time today has just been awesome. And I hope to see you again.
Thank you, man. We'll do it any and every time, babe. We'll be in touch as this thing continues to grow. We'll have more to talk about. So.
Oh, I'd love that. I got more, but I got to let you go. So I'll wrap it up by asking, where do people find Jelly Roll on socials?
At Jelly Roll 615 on Instagram. I think it's the official Jelly Roll on TikTok, or official Jelly Roll. You should be able to type it in. JellyRoll615.com is the website. A lot of tour dates there, none in Canada, but I get close if somebody wants to make the trip. And it's going to be good, man. I'll be up there next year. We've only begun, baby. This is the beginning of this story, and it's crazy because it feels like we're halfway through a whole one already, but we've only started.
I'm so glad to have a great seat to watch it happen.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to hang too, man. I'll see you at CRS in February for sure.
Yes, you will, sir. Jelly Roll, stay well, stay safe.